Hello, everyone. My name is Ryan Randall, and I'm from the ITRC. Joining me today are Mark Cooper and Rick Fowler to talk about Pack Smart, your guide to ISU Canvas content management. And today, what we'll be talking about will be, as we're making the move from Moodle to Canvas, we've settled on a sort of extended moving analogy. So you'll see this moving truck as well as way more moving boxes than I hope you have to experience in person anytime soon. But that's the extended metaphor that we'll be using. What we'll be talking about is the Canvas storage limits, using external storage, checking the size of your course in Moodle, decreasing the size of your course, and we'll also have a section for Q&A at the end. But if as questions come to you throughout the session, please feel free to put them in the Zoom chat. They're always welcome. So the important thing to know about storage limits in Canvas is that we don't have control over them, unlike how we've been able to be more accommodating and flexible with Moodle. With Canvas, each course will have 500 megabytes total storage. And I went looking through my own Zoom recording history just to sort of see how long video files tend to be, because we've seen that video files tend to be the largest thing in most people's classes. And so, at least in my own Zoom recording history, I don't know if your settings for a default might be different from mine, but I've noticed that in a single hour long Zoom recording can be anywhere from 300 megabytes up to 500 megabytes, depending on if it's got a speaker view or the gallery view, as you can see in the image I put below. I think it might also have something to do with how many times a screen was shared or if multiple people are talking at the same time. But that implies that you might not have much room for more than maybe 1-2 Zoom recordings actually put into your course in Canvas. So if that's something that you've done a lot, most people have already taken to putting some of their videos into Panopto, our video storage platform. We'll talk about that later, but I just want to let you know early on some of the things that you might want to pay attention to and why this Canvas storage size is going to be something that's so crucial for you to think through. So what counts for storage? In Canvas, what's going to count will be any files that the instructor uploads. So these could be things like your PowerPoint presentations, your PowerPoint slides. If you have Word documents or PDFs that you upload, images, these will all count towards that 500 megabytes of storage. And this also, even though it might not technically use an interface that has the word upload in there, if you embed a media image or some other media directly into a rich text area, so like when you're explaining instructions to students in a prompt or in a quiz, those sort of extra bits of media also count if they're embedded in that way. The good news is that files students submit, those don't count. Thankfully, Canvas will treat those separately. And also any external media. So if you're linking out to a video that's in YouTube, I say linking out, but most people actually embed it. So it's actually visible on the same page on the screen, but it's actually hosted on YouTube. It's not hosted in either Moodle or Canvas. Those are considered external media. Those won't count. And also our new video streaming service, Panopto, we got that specifically so that it will not count, so that the videos that you include for your course will not count towards your video storage if they're in Panopto. And also, as I sort of implied, any external links, those won't count towards your course storage either. So up next, Rick is going to tell us more about smarter file management strategies.
Thanks, Ryan. Some of the smarter file management strategies we're going to talk about today, including reduce, compress, and optimize your files, rethinking organization. It's different in Canvas versus Moodle. So while we had folders in Moodle, we're going to use pages in Canvas mainly. And we're going to talk about leveraging external tools for storage efficiency. So first, reduce, compress, and optimize. And this is a good way to reduce the file sizes of your main backup. Compressing large files. What we've seen from instructors who have started the process already is one of the main culprits that's creating large file sizes is PowerPoint files. So if you're adding direct PowerPoint files into your course, we recommend that you might convert those to a PDF, especially if you have images in your PowerPoint presentations. They can get up to like 500 megabytes large just on their own. So when you compress them to a PDF, they can get down to 1 or 2 megabytes. And then you can also link that externally. And then images are another one. If you're using high quality images from the internet, those can usually be made for printing, so they can be very large in size. You might have like a 20 megabyte file, but we can help you get that compressed down to the same looking size on your screen, but it's only going to be less than 1 megabyte. Hi, Kaylin. I saw your question. Do you have a recommendation for putting multiple PDF files into one and compressing? I know that we could do that, and I know that we have Acrobat Pro down here in the library, so we could definitely work on that for you. I'd have to do a little research, but yes, we could definitely help you with that. Another option for reducing your file size is to use cloud storage solutions. I know that the Google Drive is a little touchy subject right now across campus. Faculty now have 50 gigabytes of storage. So if you're having issues with that, if you have met that storage limit or you're having issues with that, you can use ISU Box instead. We've been informed by the IT department that ISU Box is currently unlimited in file size. So you're allowed to put anything in there that you want. And then again, it works just like Google Drive. You can share files and host external links. So rather than putting documents and that kind of thing directly into your course, you can use external links, link to that, and then your students can download that file. One nice thing about ISU Box that is different than Google Drive is that it is FERPA and HIPAA compliant. So especially if you're working with anything that's HIPAA related, it's a good source to use that instead. So those are some ways that you can reduce file size. Again, Panopto, Ryan's talked about that a little, and we've had a couple sessions about it already. But you can upload your videos directly to Panopto instead of Canvas. And again, like Ryan said already, some videos can be extremely huge and take up a lot of space. One video can end up taking the entire 500 megabytes you have in Canvas. So those files are saved to the Panopto media server, and we save those if your server, if the videos haven't been accessed for 2 years, then they will go into cold storage for a year. And if they're accessed within that next year, so it's 3 years total, that if they get accessed by students, that they'll still be available. You don't have to worry as much about those videos going away. If you're going to run into that time crunch and like it's one class you teach every 4 years, that does happen, let us know. We can work around that with you. And then one nice thing about Panopto is that you can relink videos from one semester to the next. So if you've added them to your course that you're teaching next fall, and then you're going to teach that course again the following fall, they'll still be there in the folder, and you will just reconnect the links, and it's a quick process. Additional functions that Panopto has that we haven't had in the past, you can create interactive quizzes in your videos, so you can actually embed quizzes inside the videos so that as students go along and watch the video, they answer certain questions, and you can either have that graded or ungraded. Viewer statistics, you can see who's been watching the videos, how much of the videos they've watched. It'll give you a very detailed rundown of every student, how much they watched. You can also use that to auto grade based on the percentage that students have watched. So if students have watched 60% of the video, they're going to get a 60% for that assignment. And you can set up how many points that's worth, and it will go directly into your grade book, so you don't have to worry about adding it manually or anything like that. Another nice thing is that it does auto transcription. So it does transcribing and adds captioning for all of that. And it's, I think, 99% accurate is what we've been told. And our captioning team with Disability Services really likes it because it does a very good job of captioning, much better than, say, Zoom and other video functions that we've used. It also has a basic editor inside, so you can select portions of your video that you want students to watch. And so if you have a long video, you can cut different sections. So that's pretty handy too. And then we'll talk about Canvas and replacing folders. So Canvas does not have folders. They have a file section where you can add files into there. Again, any files that you add into the file section of your Canvas course do count towards that data amount. But one thing you can do, and I'll show you here, is you can use text headers to organize files visually. So in your modules, if you've added Canvas and gone in to look at your Canvas course already, you'll see that the modules are shaped like this. So it's a little different. You don't have the folder to add files into, but you can use text headers here, and you can set up the header, add files underneath it. You are limited to 50 files that you can add underneath. Hopefully you're not adding 50. That's a lot to scroll through. Your students will hate you, but this can help you structure your course content efficiently. And then you can also use pages in the module. So again, like you've used pages in Moodle, you can use those in Canvas, and you can add links into there. Linking to files in the files area. So if you've added files to that file area in the Canvas course, you can link directly to that. And I'll go over that in just a second. How to find file links in Canvas, insert them into pages. I don't know what I meant to put there. That bullet point was something else. You also have drag and drop functionality. So if you have a file that you want to add directly to a page, you can drag and drop it into the page, and that will automatically add it to the files section of your course. Again, you can do all of these, but we really recommend, based on this tiny file size, is that you're going to want to host all of these things externally, either in Box or Google Drive, and then link there. And in this picture example below, I've added all the different ones. So this top one, and you can see they all look the same, but this top link was done with the drag and drop. So when I added that into this page, it automatically added that PDF into my files section. This PowerPoint was one that's in my Google Drive. So I just linked externally to that, is again, similar to how you've done that in Moodle. And then the last one is a file that I already had in my Canvas files section. And I've just linked to that. There's an option to do that, and it just looks like any regular link. So these are all just going to look like regular links for your students and shouldn't cause any extra issues for you. And Mark is going to talk us through the next page.
Thanks, Rick. Appreciate it. All right. So we've talked about smart storage options for when you move your course over to Canvas and before you move your course over to Canvas. And so now we're going to talk about using or leveraging external tools for better storage efficiency. And Rick spoke a lot about Panopto. Panopto is ISU's video management system. It's a service that we provide, that we support. So we encourage you to go out and use it. You may have known from the downsizing of your Google Drive that videos take up a lot of that space. And so, utilize Panopto. You can embed links into your course to avoid the issue of it taking up a lot of space. In Panopto, the videos are stored outside of Canvas, and by linking that, you're not draining storage in your course. And as Rick mentioned, it also provides captioning and accessibility and quizzing and other features. You also have the option, if you're comfortable using it, and if you've been using it all along, to do YouTube or Vimeo. And again, you can just embed those links into your course for smooth playback across all the devices. It reduces load time and storage issues that would happen if you had uploaded those videos into the course. For file management with PDFs, academic articles, and things like that you may put into your course, the library has some services that integrate with both Moodle and Canvas. So you can use it now, you can use it later. And that is the EBSCO app and Curriculum Builder. And so instead of uploading PDFs, 30-page articles, those things can be utilized within the EBSCO app and Curriculum Builder. And you can link those articles directly into your course. So that is nice because that is a storage saver. And so it would reduce your course bloat. It helps ISU to track resources and usage. So, they spend a lot of money for these resources. And the more faculty who use it, the more we rely on it, and the more the university is willing to pay for it. So I encourage you to utilize the EBSCO app in the curriculum builder. And again, those are built right in to Moodle and Canvas. And students will always get the most updated version without having to go in and relink it. And that's a nice feature of that. If an article that you've always relied on, it's from 1996, but it gives me the right information that I need, but then they decide to update it, you don't have to go in and manually do that. The curriculum builder would already do that for you. So that is the end of our smart storage tips. And now we're going to talk about what you can do before you move your stuff into the moving van. And first of all, you want to make sure that you are checking your Moodle course storage. So how do you do that? So what you want to do is go to your course, and you can navigate to the More section, which is on the top menu of your Moodle course. And there's an option called Course Reuse and Backup. You will use this to back up your files that you would then send over to Canvas, but it also tells you how big that file is. So before you do it, if you see it's 575 megabytes, that's over the limit. You might want to go back and trim some stuff. So that is with the Canvas import limit, it's 500 megabytes is the maximum file size for importing. Will that cause your stuff to not import over? Maybe, maybe not. So next we're going to talk about what happens if your course is too large and you stick it into Canvas. And it's like putting a lot of rocks into a bag. What happens is that can slow upload and download times for your students. And it could occur possible errors when restoring the backup. So when you take that Moodle backup and you put it into Canvas, you might get some errors in that situation if you are over the storage limit. And lastly, increased storage limit issues for the future. So if you're just sweeping it under the rug, you might, sooner or later, you're going to have to deal with it. So you might as well do it now, save you some time later. Some cleanup strategies. So how to slash the trash in your course before archiving or copying your course from Moodle into Canvas. Remove those unnecessary files. Link instead of upload. And delete old quizzes, discussions, and assignments. So that's just to kind of sum up this webinar.
I'll go ahead and share other ways that you can get in touch with us. So I will put a link in the Zoom chat that will go to a usable version of these slides where you can actually click on the links. If you have a smart device, you can also use the QR code in the top right of this slide. And these links, the first one that says Tiger Tracks articles, that's where we have written explanations of processes. So if you wanted to know if you have questions about how to move things, about how to set things up, that's where you can find those answers. Webinars, just like this one, we clean up the recording, we take out the question and answer session, and then we put them up into our video library. So specifically from today's, you might want to go back and look at the Panopto ones that we have recorded. That tells you about that platform in particular for hosting videos. In the next few weeks, we will be having many more Wednesday webinars. You can click and see the schedule for the rest of the semester with that bottom link. And whenever you want to work with us further, you can email us. ITRC@isu.edu is always the best email address to use because it'll go to all of us. And so you can get your questions answered most quickly. You can call us at 208-282-5880. If you're in Pocatello, you can go to Oboler Library, then go to the basement in room B17 is where you'll be able to find us. And we're always happy to schedule on-demand appointments with you. And these can be via Zoom or on the phone or in person. And finally, for future Wednesday webinars, please keep your eyes focused on Idaho State Today. That newsletter will have announcements for the remainder of the ones throughout the semester. And also make sure to go ahead and bookmark the ISU Canvas Transition website, which is where you'll find all of the information about the process for moving from Moodle to Canvas, as well as any other announcements that come out. Thank you all again for attending today, and we look forward to working with you.